Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all well. Craig Houston talks to. Um, I've mentioned the channel before. Scottish fella, 77,300 subscribers. Very good channel, to be honest. Very good channel. Been to Calais. Now he's here in Lesbos, and he just says a couple of words here that I think people should listen to. Because I mean, I've been saying this for a while. Because I've kind of known this for a while. This everything that you're seeing happening, especially in Britain, but around the world, in Europe and you name it, it's all part of a big plan. It's all part of a big plan. That's what's happening here. There's agendas in play, be it Agenda 30 of the United Nations, and all manner of things. To be honest, that are documented as well as backhanded people doing backhanded shit as well. So he mentions David Icke, and I've mentioned David Icke myself, and David Icke's a 50-50 man. 50% of the stuff David Icke says is gold, but 50% of the stuff he says is bollocks, like the Queen's a lizard and all this kind of crack, which, if she is, well, she's dead now, so she definitely isn't. But she's a dead lizard, if anything, now. But should she have been a lizard, or any of these people being lizards, there's no real proof of any of this after countless years of the claims. Do you know what I mean? So you don't want to get too far when you get out. Like, you know what I mean? The Earth isn't flat. So don't be going too mental when you get into the conspiracy world. Is a tip for anybody. Kind of keep yourself a little bit grounded here. Don't go off cock. You know what I mean? Just use a bit of logic. Science still exists. Things like this. So yeah, just be careful how far down the rabbit hole you go on the conspiracies, because some people will send you far too far. You end up getting fucking lost and thinking the Earth's flat. So yeah, but the conspiracies are real. You know what I mean? The conspiracies are real. A lot of them are true, but a lot of them aren't. But one particular one I do definitely believe to be true, and it's not coming from just the likes of David Icke. It comes from some very, very clever people over the last 50, 60, 70 years, to be honest. Because this plan's a plan in the making. It's the New World Order, and one world government to one world currency. You're currently watching all the currencies in the world being destroyed through debt that will ultimately end up in there being a one world currency, because all the countries' economies have been destroyed through debt. So we'll switch to a one world currency, and in order to get to that one world currency, that's what they've done: destroyed all the world economies, used COVID massively to destroy the world's economies and spend money hand over fist so people didn't have to go to work. Basically surpassing the debt fucking ceiling that we could all survive, and then crippling the economies into internal inflation, and which will ultimately end in the economies collapsing and bringing a new world monetary system, which will be a one world monetary system at that point. We're going to have a big war, and just like the Second World War, the United Nations was born out of it with the cry, this should never happen again, yet we've had countless wars ever since. So we're going to have another big war, and from the big war we'll have a one world government with the cry, well, this will never happen again. If we have a one world government, there'll be no wars. So this is all problem, reaction, solution in play, and the public aren't clever enough to click on to what's happening to them, because it's happening on such a big scale that they can't quite grasp that it's happening. But it's happening. We're taking leaps and bounds and strides all the time towards a new world order, towards a one world government, towards a one world currency, which is ultimately the ultimate end goals of all of kind of what you're seeing. And it's all been written out and planned out, and you can kind of go and read all this stuff if you wanted to, but nobody bothers because they'd rather watch X Factor or football. And then ultimately you'll be left with nothing, pissing in a pot, and you'll be lucky if you're watching football at that point. So, and your entire family will be poor and slaves forever. Is kind of the end game here. The rich want to make some sort of super surveillance state where they're the masters of all. You're the peasants who do all the work. They live in the luxury. You fucking fix all the machines and fucking live in the shit. and the population, you're not allowed to have kids because they don't want too many people on the planet because that fucks things up as well. So this is all the plans, to be honest, and it's all been written out, and it's all in Agenda 30, and it's all the economic forums mention it by 2030. You'll own nothing, be happy. So you have been told multiple times what's coming, and if you've got the eyes to see, you can very much see it coming, and seen it coming over the last 20 to 30 years, to be honest, depending on how long you've known. But Mr. Houston here, Craig, says something very interesting about David Icke, but not specifically about David Icke, about kind of what David Icke goes on about and the way the world's going and what's happening. And is this all planned? Is kind of what he says. So we'll just play him and let's have a listen to this.
Hi there, welcome to the latest investigation in my 10-minute mon. And I've travelled to Lesbos for this one to look into immigration, as this is right at the forefront of the European border. For many, many years, one of the largest intake areas for people coming into the EU from Turkey, which is a short trip that way. It's closer to here than Cali is to Dover. And I came here expecting to have a video full of border cross, channel crossing, etc. And it didn't turn out like that. In many ways, I'm going home with more questions than I came with. But some strange things happened. And if any of them had happened, isolated just one of them, or maybe even two of them, probably wouldn't have given much a second thought. But the amount of really, really strange things I came across during this trip, this very short trip, have really blown my mind. I don't think I was in danger at any particular point, but I was very wary. I was on my guard. And I don't really know if putting this video is going to do me any favours, I'm perfectly honest with you. Because some of the stuff that I stumbled upon, downright weird, and it's made me, and I hope you can listen to every single story and try even reading between the lines in some of the stuff, because I don't want to be seen as a sort of David Icke type person, a conspiracy.
Yeah, so he's whipped out the name David Icke and he says he doesn't want to be known as a David Icke conspiracy person, but this is the problem you've got, because if you don't kind of become a conspiracy person, you'll never figure out what's going on in the world, because ultimately it is one massive big conspiracy where the rich people are ultimately trying to fuck over all the peasants for all of time, and now have the technology to do so. It's they've always wanted to fuck us over, but they've just never had the technology to do it. Now we have the technology to fucking pull off all these people's plans, so that's what they're doing. They're setting their plans into motion here to ultimately reduce the population, control the planet forever, so that they remain rich forever, and you and your family will be the fucking peasants forever if you survive. So, unfortunately, that's what's happening, and it is a big conspiracy. And the more you don't look at it and turn a blind eye to it, the faster it'll come on, the worse it will get, and you'll be in a third world war with your economy's collapsing before you know it, and you'll never have seen it coming because you didn't fucking pay attention, to be honest. But it's, if you can't see it coming now, I don't know what the fuck you're doing, to be honest. I don't know where the fuck you're doing. I don't know what you're looking at. But you can clearly see things are not okay here. Things are not okay. They're not okay in Britain. They're not okay in America. They're not okay worldwide. Like, things are really bad. And they're going to get a lot worse because it's order out of chaos. In order to bring the order these people desire, they are going to make chaos like you wouldn't believe, so that you, the peasants, if you survive, beg for the order that they will provide, and then you will not question their order. You will not dissent against their order because you begged for it. So you're being played, to be honest. You're being played massively by the powers that be, the clever people, the rich people. You're being played on levels you've never even thought existed. But he makes a good point here. He doesn't want to be David Icke, but he's saying that because he doesn't want to be known as conspiratorial. But again, it's I mean, conspiracy just means to fuck people over, to conspire with somebody to fuck people over, and that's what's happening. The rich people are going to fuck us over here for eternity, is kind of the crack. And that's kind of what David Icke and Alex Jones and all these people have been telling you for quite some time. But people just ultimately don't want to listen because half the time they go mental about fucking the moon's fake and the Queen's a lizard and all this. Again, just like, yeah, I know. I don't believe any of that shit either, or that the Earth's flat. But there's a lot of truth in the other shit. Evil men doing evil shit to fuck over poor people. That's been happening for fucking thousands of years on this planet. That's a fucking real thing, you know what I mean? So I don't know, play a bit more.
He's with tinfoil hat. I certainly don't want to be like that. I'm just going to tell you some things that happened. And I don't really want to get drawn into what are things behind them. But one thing that really is melting my head, and one thing I have answered in this trip is the concern that are there higher powers involved with this massive invasion into Europe?
So higher powers involved again, the elites, the global elites. I mean, some people call them the Illuminati, if that's what you want to call them. But essentially, the powers that be, the aristocracy, the ruling class. I mean, the many names, many forms, and many clubs like the Club of Rome, and some would say the Freemasons at the highest levels are used. Club of Rome, the Bilderberg Group. I mean, all these things, especially the Bilderberg Group and the Club of Rome, you can research these things, that the known entities that all these rich people are in, secret clubs that are above governments, and basically the plan of ages, their plan, will be fulfilled, and that's what they're doing, and it's been long prophesized, again, even in modern times, by the likes of people like David Icke. But there's plenty more. He's just a well-known guy to say in Britain, you know what I mean? But Alex Jones in America is another guy. But there's plenty of people. You don't have to gravitate to them too. There's plenty of people who know the crack here and what's going on, and why it's happening, and what the ultimate end game is for us, the world, the peasants, and everything that's happening right now. And as he says here, is there a higher power involved? And the answer, Craig, is yes. Yes, there is a higher power involved. This is all a big plan. And you can even go and read it. That's the beauty of it. Like Agenda 30 and the Economic Forum and all these things. They've actually wrote half of this shit down. It's the beauty of it. It's just they don't fucking print it in the newspapers. And you won't read it unless you go and look. So, yes, this is a massive plan. There is higher power involved. And yes, the plan is to ultimately fuck us all over and build some sort of super surveillance state where they are the masters of all, we are the peasants, we fix all the fucking machines, and they live in the lap of luxury for the rest of known time, is kind of the plan.
Is it part of a bigger plan?
Yes, yes it is.
Don't think you can discount the possibility.
Yeah, you can't, Craig, because it is, and if you look into it deeply enough, and it will take time, a long time, to get sift through all the information. A very good person to listen to actually is Alan Watt. He has died now, and he lived in Ireland, but videos are still online. I think his channel was cutting through the Matrix. But Alan Watt was a very clever man, and it was a massive loss to me and to anybody who ever listened to Alan Watt. To be honest, he was brilliant. He was brilliant. And a lot of what I learned and kept it grounded was through Alan Watt, not Alex Jones, not David Icke, Alan Watt. Cutting through the Matrix, I believe he was his channel. Some people have furthered on his stuff. I don't know if his actual website's still up because he's now died. But that guy was a very clever man, and the man you want to listen to, or you should have been listening to. Not the likes of David Icke, and not the likes of Alex Jones, really, either. Alan Watt. And if you can find his stuff, his name's spelled W-A-T-T. And not the Alan Watt that's like, he gives you all these like weird speeches and things. Like, it's as if they've made that Alan Watt to cover this Alan Watt, so you can't find him. It's weird. But there's an Alan Watt who's like motivational speeches. It's not that one. It's a guy. I think he was English, but he lived in Ireland. He could have been Irish, but I don't think he was. Um, a very poor man that lived just on his own in Ireland, died about 2 to 3 years ago. Cutting Through the Matrix was the name of his channel, and he knew a lot. He knew a lot of what was happening, why it was happening. He was very informed, very up to date. And if you ever want to learn anything about what's going on, you don't listen to the likes of David Icke and Alex Jones. They're like interim level people to get you into it, and then you realise that they're a bit mental in times, these people, and maybe in on it themselves. They may be disinfo agents, is some of the cries that have been said. I don't know, but again, all this lizard shit and stuff like that, bit mental for me. So Alan Watt was my guy, but he died. But there's a lot of videos out there with a lot of truth and a lot of knowledge in, if they're still there. And some people were forwarding on his videos because he was good. But yes, Craig, there is a bigger plan at play here. There is big people involved. There is a plan, and ultimately, it's a one world system where is the everyone's equal. So all this sort of multiculturalism, globalization is also what you would call it. It's all part of this one world system where everybody's just a peasant basically. Your color and your sex and all this, it doesn't matter. You're just the peasant at this point, and they're the rich and we're the poor, and they own everything, and we do all the fucking work. Is kind of the plan.
And all the things that go on could be just completely coincidental. But equally, they could be planned. And I've been scratching my head.
Yeah, the plan. It's all a big plan. That's why it's not stopping. We could stop it. We're not gonna stop it. It's all a part of a big plan. We're like paying. We're putting these people up in fucking hotels. In hotels, 4 or 5 star hotels here. You know what I mean? We're giving them iPhones and bikes and designer clothes, 3, 4 meals a day, as much as you can eat. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's not a plan.
Head and little hair that I've got left on it from almost immediately landing here. And I've spent days getting into situations that are just downright weird. So sit down, open your ears, open your mind, and listen to the story and how
Yeah, I'll leave it there. There isn't much more on the video. It's more like an intro to the videos he's going to make on what's happened, I believe. So Craig Houston Talks To is the channel. I say good channel. I like him. I'm a big fan of the Scotch people, to be honest. I do like the Scotch. So yeah, subscribe to the channel for the coming videos and whatever has happened. He hasn't described here, but I just seen this and I just made a video before saying it's all a big plan. This, you know what I mean? And like, then he comes out and he comes on saying like, this could be all, you know what I mean? And I'm like, well, yeah, it is, Craig. And if you look into it, like it takes time to look into it, like it. Because it's a deep, deep, deep subject, to be honest. But David Icke's kind of in the ballpark, but I mean, I'm not a big, big, big fan of David Icke because of all the lizard shit and the moon shit that he comes out with. You know what I mean? I mean, Alex Jones is more grounded than David Icke, but even he can be a bit mental at times. But I tell you, Alan Watt was the guy. He died. I'm not sure, he was about 78, 80 year old when he died. He died. He lived in Ireland. He had a channel and a website called Cutting Through the Matrix, I believe. And that guy's the guy you want to listen to, and he'll tell you what's happening. To be honest, he was fucking bang on. He died either during or just after COVID, and I mean, he's seen COVID coming and a lot. You know what I mean? It's honest, the guy was a fucking genius. The guy was a genius. So I'll leave it there on the Craig Houston's Talks To. But as I say, subscribe for what's going on and to hear, I maybe bring them forth, what actually has happened to him, to make him question whether this is all some sort of big plan from high above. But my um, suggestion or my reply to Craig is yes, this is a big plan. It is a big plan, and if you look deeply enough into it, you can kind of prove that it is. And the longer you've known this, the more you've seen it coming, and it's not stopping what's happening. That this plan will be fulfilled by these people, and on the current trajectory, it isn't stopping because they've got no reason to stop. No one's stopping them. So yeah, that's all I'll say. This is some big plan. I'll leave it there. Peace.